Could Dr. J have made it on a team in today's basketball league ever since the 3-point shot? Okay, now I bring this up because I just realized, I've left Dr. J out of a lot of my stuff. And it's not because I just left him out. It's because he was real close, except for I had Kawhi Leonard I put in place of Dr. J because Kawhi is a real good 3-point shooter. All right, so they're both good defenders. And I wanted to give him some credit because for a while I was conceptualizing and looking at, and now you see with the mafia running the NBA partly or having influence on the NBA and all the gambling and stuff, why they underrate and overrate players. And Dr. J is one of the players I thought they don't talk enough about, and they did underrate him and stuff. But my new studies, my updated studies on players, they're not conclusive, but I've been busy with sorting out who's the top players between Kareem, Hakeem Olajuwon, and let's see who else. Who's the third one? Oh, Wilt Chamberlain. So I got Wilt Chamberlain at the top for now. I could find something that changes my mind on that. But when it comes to wings, you got Kevin Durant. Dr. J's in there, but you got Larry Bird. So here's the thing about Dr. J. I'll just say, I just realized there's a chance he wouldn't be on some teams today because I've seen players I like that have similar traits. From what I understand, I don't know him as well as I need to, but I don't know all his shooting stats. But I've never seen a highlight of him shooting an outside shot. All I've ever seen is a slam dunk. All right, I've seen his stats, and the reason I said he's underrated is he was a great defensive player, right? And I didn't know it. And Larry Bird's underrated on defense. Why did they purposely underrate Larry Bird on defense all these years? To boost Kobe Bryant? And Kobe's a good player. But for me, he should have tried better to get along with Shaquille O'Neal. On my all-star teams, I don't know if he's going to give anybody the ball, except maybe he'll let Michael Jordan have it, but maybe not. He might not let Michael Jordan have it if they're on the same team. So that's the way I feel about Kobe. So, and it's not, I know he's a better team player than that, but that's still a tendency that I don't want to battle with if I have a player on my team. All right. And if anybody is going to hog the ball, it's going to be Michael Jordan because he has a much better shooting percentage than Kobe. So the reason I don't put Kobe in the top is shooting percentage. I don't want to get stuck on that. But I'm just saying I've evaluated Dr. J with all these guys. All right. And from what I know of Dr. J, I don't know if he would have been a good 3-point shooter. He didn't. To his credit, he didn't try. And there are a lot of shooters who are not good jump shooters, but they can be a good 3-point shooter. So I'm sure he would have tried the 3-point shooter more if he was in our era. But where Dr. J, do I think he would have made a team? I'm telling you, nowadays, I've done a lot of study on this. I've followed LeBron James teams, and I try to put a bug in their ears and say, get this guy, get this guy, get this guy. He's good on defense, and he can shoot 3-pointers. And a lot of times they fall for the hoax of people saying, get this guy. Within the league, media and people who debate stuff, they always promote some guy that can shoot 3-pointers but isn't a very good defensive player. And then so they end up getting that guy. And then they can't use him in the playoffs because of defense. So it's and they can't use him a lot of times because of defense. So you got to have somebody that can play defense and shoot 3-pointers. But I've seen so many players that are good on defense and they shoot a high percentage. Dr. J's percentage rate of shots made, field goals, are very high. And that's partly because he slams dunks a lot. I haven't seen many other highlights of his shots. And I haven't had time to go back and double check that yet. I want to get to that. But right now I'm busy evaluating the guys who can shoot 3-pointers and who are good defensive players and comparing them and stuff, right, for the all times. And it's a lot to do. Especially when I don't do this full time. It's a side gig. I do politics. I do religion. I do ethics, morals, and I study, about true gods and false gods and what proves there's a true God. And that's one that rose from the dead, kind of disqualified all the other gods until they rise from the dead, right? So anyhow, but I stay on that stuff and I do study politics, and I'm busy doing other things. I'll put it like that. So Dr. J, one of the best defensive players of all time. That's what people don't know about him. And he's one of the best slam dunkers of all time, right? And what else do we know about him? not too much. Felt that he was underrated because he was in the ABA. So they're not as bad about underrating ABA players as they were about underrating Herschel Walker because he played in the USFL for a while instead of the NFL. All of a sudden, they don't want to give him any attention, you know. And so, but they probably do underrate him a little bit. So for that reason. However, in today's league, and so back then you didn't have the 3-point shot. So if I was just before the 3-point shot came, I guess he might have been there I don't know if he was still there when it came along. It didn't come along till after Magic and Bird were in the league. Sometime that they pushed for it, but it came later on, not even in the beginning of their time, I think. But so Magic did play against. Who did Dr. J beat? He played with Moses Malone and ended up winning a championship. But Moses Malone, that's another player I like. And I have mentioned him a few times. So I like him. He's one of the best centers, but he's just a little overshadowed by these big scoring defensive centers. He's a big rebounding center, but he's just a motor guy. He's just a worker. But so he's got that drive. Dr. J, though, if I went back and were to rate players before the 3-point shot, he'd probably be one of the best, right? He's definitely one of the best. You take the 3-point shot away from the game, and Dr. J is one of the best. But in today's game, he could be the best even. But I don't go on that. I have to think about that. But for a certain amount of time before Larry Bird came in the league, he could have been the best, right? And no offense. Well, but how good is Larry Bird without the 3-point shot? You know, he's good. He's good at jump shots and everything, too. And he has a full game, all right? But Dr. J is probably a better defensive player, but not all the way around. Bird is a good defensive player in a lot of ways, and timing and being in the right place at the right time, and a different style of defense. He's just not as good at playing just man-to-man as Dr. J would be. And that's part of that's what do you call it? What's the word I want? You know, it's observation. It's not conclusive. But anyhow, so I'll just close with this. Dr. J is definitely not mentioned enough. And partly today he's not mentioned as much with me, for instance, for now. It's because of 3-point shot. So would he make it in today? I have seen players with similar traits as Dr. J. Not quite like that, but with a great defensive rating. And then the player, I forget the guy's name, David something or Canalby or some name. I'm not real, hadn't seen it in a couple of years, but I wanted the Lakers to get him back when LeBron first went with the Lakers, or maybe 2 or 3 years in. I'm like, get this guy for cheap. He shoots 52% from field goal range. That's because all he does is slam dunks, maybe. And but he's a wing player, but he's the best defensive player rating of anybody. And I'm like, how come they don't just get him, use him for defense, and let the other guys score? You know, but because he doesn't do the 3-point shot, and maybe there's something else about the guy they didn't get him. And that makes me, I think, when I think of Dr. J's talents, I'm thinking, would they do the same thing to Dr. J nowadays? But, of course, Dr. J, this guy, he's not tall like Dr. J, and Dr. J was a top player, so he has other traits that I'm not as studied up on, and that we've just not talked about because all we want to do is see Dr. J slam dunk it. He is one of the best. I'd say Jordan, Dr. J, I don't know if he got mentioned in a list of best dunkers of all time recently. I think I made a list and I might have forgotten Dr. J. How did I do that? Maybe I didn't. But it's not just that he's a good dunker for his time. He's one of the best dunkers ever. He's in that list of Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, Dr. J. Why do I forget the guy's name? The one everybody thinks is the best. And he played till he was 42 or so. He was that guy. And you know who I'm talking about. Forgot his name. Sorry. But it's on the tip of my head. But so there's him, and then there's Sean Kemp, and there's Blake Griffin. And so, but Dr. J's right there. To me, he has one of the most unique, unique dunks I've ever seen are Michael Jordan and Dr. J, frankly. So there's something to their style of the way their hand palms. I think Dr. J has big hands like Michael Jordan. That has something to do with it. But they have, you could call Dr. J Air J, like Air Jordan. He's similar to the Michael Jordan and having some airness to him, to his jump. And so Jordan has it even more, but Dr. J had that a little bit, and that's different than these other guys. The way he would float, kind of float through the air from a distance, and that's using speed coming into also. And so that's partly has to do with their speed. Whereas some of these other dunkers I'm talking about, Dominique was a power dunker, Blake Griffin was a power dunker, and he could jump real high. And then the guy I'm forgetting, he didn't seem to have that airness where he floats. So there was something, he does some really good spin moves and everything else, and he's fancy, and everybody says he's the best, and he does some amazing stuff, but you didn't see that little float to him like Dr. J and Michael Jordan have. So anyway, but so Dr. J's there with that, and he has, he's one of the best dunkers of all time and best defensive players of all time from my assessment. And I'm not having assessed everything. I'm going by defensive rating, okay? And obviously, if he could dunk the way he could and has the big hands, he was probably like a claw similar to, I just said his name earlier, Kawhi Leonard. He's similar to Kawhi Leonard probably on defense, but I hadn't seen a lot of video of his defensive play, frankly. And so I don't think I've watched any video of Dr. J's defensive play. If I did, it was a long time ago. So I want to do that. I hope I find time to do it. I got other stuff I got to do. But, I have to do. I feel I have to do. Got to prioritize. But I definitely want to get to that. So I still got to learn more about, definitely learn the modern players more. But they're not conclusive yet, so I don't put them as much in the debate of all time, although I made a joke, best all-time NBA, and I put Wembanyama. I put Wemby at number 1. Jordan number 2, LeBron number 3, and I'm back and forth with LeBron and Jordan still now, especially since the gambling problem has come along, and I know there's a lot of dishonest stuff going on in the NBA and how they rate, and they do influence my thoughts. So like, okay, they keep saying LeBron is no good, Jordan is. Well, I like LeBron's. The fact that they forget LeBron's not as flashy as Jordan. Jordan hogs it, and some people when they say Kobe, no, it's Kobe. And the players say Kobe. They don't know what they're talking about a lot of times. You know why they think Kobe's so good? Because he always came at him. He always came at him. He always came at him. I mean, on the court. So when you're playing against somebody and they're the ones always coming at you, you're going to feel like they're really good. They're better than everybody else because they're the one I have to worry about all the time. Well, that's going to happen if he has the ball more than anybody else. That's just going to happen, and they're going to feel that way. But when you look at the stats, he missed more shots than LeBron, Jordan, Bird, Durant, Kyrie Irving. Had a better shooting rate and his peak, that is. But there was one year where Kobe did have a good year. I think it was 2006, where Kobe was just his field goal percentage was up that year. But that's the only year, I think. I only saw one year where he was up there almost as high as Jordan and all the guys I just listed. But his shooting percentage, I look at shooting percentage. If it's down, it just doesn't make the measurement. Now, if I watch Kobe play, he looks excellent, but his shooting percentage is what counts to me. And then also the fact that he talks about being a ball hog. Basically, he wants the ball for him only, and da-da-da-da. I don't like that. I don't like that personally. Somewhat, to a degree, maybe. But anyway, so you got, how did I get off on that? What did I forget? I forgot something. I better close out. Dr. J, would he fit in today's league? Definitely. To me, he'd fit as a defensive player who can score well in the post. And he probably could score even more in the post than he used to, because they do spread the floor. And I do believe in spreading the floor. I don't think once you learn to spread the floor and that brings an advantage, you don't just throw it away. It's a new part of the game. I mean, that's why Steph Curry is so good, considered so good. It's not that he's as good an all-around player as Kevin Durant, although I'm not going to knock the fact that he is one of the best ball handlers, actually. We talk about Kyrie Irving and stuff, but you should see the stuff Steph Curry can do with the basketball, dribbling and stuff. He can do some things better than any of them that I've seen as far as when it comes to drills. Now, I haven't really evaluated that part of his game as much, but the thing that makes Steph Curry so good is he's a phenomenon specialist like you might not ever see again. Well, there's a lot more people trying to be like him. So but that's something like we've never seen before, right? And he's natural at it and good at it. It's spreading the floor. He spreads the floor. You put that specialist on the floor, and he spreads the floor like nobody else. And then he is good and quick, one of the better dribblers in the league. So if he wants to stretch it out and then trick somebody and run in for the easy layup, he can do that. And he created that spread partly, and then the team does it too. So that's why it's hard for Dr. J, for me to fit Dr. J into today's league a little bit, unless he ends up practicing the 3-point shot and we find out he can do it. Then he fits. He's one of the best players in the league still. Okay, but without the 3-point shot, it's debatable. I'd have to think it over more. All right. I wanted to put Dr. J's name out there because he was definitely a special player. All right.